This is the way.
But not a way to make a Star Wars movie. It's a cute movie. It's cute. You know, the film came out and I would have reviewed it sooner, but I was actually in Montreal during that weekend. I didn't get a chance to see it, so I saw it. It was fine. I enjoyed it. I'd say the movie doesn't deserve as much hate as a lot of people are giving it, but I do see where they're coming from on this, because after all, didn't really change much about the characters. Typically, I judge a movie adaptation of a current running show based on the fact that it somehow changes the characters. Or perhaps they just put more budget into it than normal. For example, the Simpsons movie didn't really change much about the characters' lives. Everything seems to go back to where it all started. On occasion, you'll see them reference the movie, or maybe they'll mention Spider-Pig. Or you take Batman Mask of the Phantasm, which was adapted from Batman the Animated Series, where it served as something where, yes, it doesn't change much and it does bring Batman back to where it all started, but we do go deep into where he came from and we explored his past. Even Power Rangers, for their movies, they actually do have changes. I mean, the first movie's not canon to the TV show, but it does change the fact that they have new powers. Where Turbo, a Power Rangers movie, well, it's the bridge that connects from Zeo to the Turbo series. You see what I'm saying? This movie, a lot of the critics are right. Burger King Cup. You could tell by watching the movie that it was meant to be a season 4, but at the last minute they decided to cut it up and bring it together as a movie. Just seemed like another adventure for the Mandalorian and Grogu. Things haven't really been adapted, or things haven't changed much except for certain vehicles that we get, but even then, you know, they're just vehicles. Now, that's not to say I have a problem with any of the actors, like Pedro Pascal. He's always great, even though, you know, the thing is, it's not really Pedro that's in the suit, unless, you know, they take off the helmet, but it's just the voice. Actually, interesting fun fact, or maybe not that much of a fun fact, but the stunt double, the stand-in for Mandalorian, is actually related to John Wayne. I think like John Wayne's grandson. Yeah, not only the Mandalorian series is your typical Western story, but the actor is actually played by a descendant of a cowboy. So, I mean, that's kind of cool. Let me ask you, did you like the Star Wars Clone Wars movie? Now, let's think about in terms of Star Wars The Clone Wars, the movie that went into theaters. Originally, that was actually just a pilot episode. The end result of that looks like just a bunch of episodes cut and glued together to make a movie, and then they redubbed some of the voice actors with the original live action actors. But no, it was served as a pilot episode to the series. What I'm getting at, though, is that movie introduced Jabba the Hutt's son as a baby. I hated him. It was one of those characters they created, you know, just to amuse the kids. But guess what? We get to see him again. But now he's a chud, played by Jeremy Allen White. I like him not because of Bear, but because I love Shameless. So really, it's just kind of a tie-in movie. I'm not sure if we're going to get another season of The Mandalorian, but I think it's just to, you know, hold us over for a little bit of Din Djarin taking on another task from the New Republic. We get Sigourney Weaver in it. It's a shame that we can't get Carl Weathers giving him the assignment, but, you know, rest in peace. And I was really hoping that we would actually get like a reunion of various characters from the series, with the exception of one particular. That didn't happen. It doesn't happen in the movie. It's just a standalone adventure. Grogu's entertaining. I mean, it's Grogu. He'll never disappoint. He's an adorable little baby. But I do feel like this movie has a lot of adorable character moments that Star Wars likes to push every now and then. Kind of think something on the lines of Ewoks or even the Star Wars Holiday Special. But let me go a little bit deeper into that real quick in the spoilers. So I'll be back. If you have not seen the movie, you may want to skip this part. If you have seen the movie, stick around. Or if you have not seen the movie, you don't mind spoilers, stick around too. But if you don't want to be spoiled, come back right about. Yeah, I got this cup from Burger King, by the way. My tummy can't hold the food like it used to, but I had to get some Burger King stuff. The food tastes good going down. I'll say that much. So, the movie. Right. So, yeah, I like that we get to see more of Jabba the Hutt's race. And I was curious, a little bit curious, just to see what happened to Jabba's baby that grew up. And it turns out that in this story, Jabba's siblings, twin siblings, tried to get rid of the son. So he was shipped off and started to wrestle. You know, that's the thing. The movie starts off with the stinky separatist guy trying to bring back the Empire, and it's cool. It's cool that we get to see Mandalorian go right in and blast and everything, and we get that fun adventure, kind of like a James Bond thing. You know how like James Bond movies start off with him on a mission to stop the bad guy, stops the bad guy, roll credits. It's that, but I feel like the movie was like a show. Maybe slightly better budget, but it did feel like they were just taking a lot of the show and putting it onto the big screen. I mean, hey, I guess some of the budget went to Sigourney Weaver and Martin Scorsese, the guy that said comic book movies are ruining cinema. And then he shows up in this as a CGI monkey. So, I feel like it's one of those movies where like the character goes on a mission, sees characters, then sent somewhere else, and then basically told to go back to the characters. And it has a lot of moments where it's just kind of like, okay, are we gonna end now? Oh no, you're gonna keep going? Okay. I do like that they introduce, I'm gonna be bad with names, so I'm gonna just call him Big Round Hat Guy. It's great that we get Zeb. I guess that's a cameo that we got from this series. I mean, that was more of the Ahsoka series. But he is a character from Star Wars Rebels. Yeah, Disney Star Wars, they like to pick and choose what is canon, what's not. Sometimes we want to recognize the Clone Wars. Sometimes we want to recognize Star Wars Rebels. Or just kind of do its own thing. Like, those things didn't happen, but the characters still exist. Yeah, I guess now Grogu's being conditioned to be a bounty hunter himself. By the way, if you hear background noises, it's because I'm actually doing this in the daytime, so I wouldn't say the movie's boring, it just drags. That's the problem. It just drags too long. From the time Mandalorian gets captured, oh no, they took off his helmet. Now he's disgraced. He threatens to kill them all because, you know, they've seen him without the helmet. Just like I'm without the helmet right now. Which doesn't matter because the big hat guy escapes at the end. I guess maybe that is a thing that'll lead into the next season or some spin-off of the show. I wish the bad guy was actually like Thrawn, because they've been really pushing him in all the other iterations of Star Wars. I would have loved to have seen Gideon return, but no, it's just a couple of Jabba's relatives. I mean, I'll say it's cool when Mando is fighting big creatures like the one that bites him and he gets the poison, and it's up to Grogu to kind of nurse him back to health, and he meets a space southerner from, it's like space has its own Louisiana that helps him out. It's all cute and everything, but it did just drag on too long. I guess I don't really have that much to say about this movie. I mean, they go on an adventure and that's it. We don't get the cameos I was hoping for. There is no Ahsoka, no Luke Skywalker. I mean, you know, it's a movie. Like, make it big. Make it worthwhile. It's nice, it's gratifying to see Jabba's twin siblings get their comeuppance when they get eaten by the water dragon, but, like, Sigourney Weaver and the rebellion, they don't really have a purpose except for to be back up and give the assignments. And for Jabba's son to start working with the rebels. I mean, I guess that's what they're not really rebels. I'm just used to calling them rebels because that's how they were introduced to us. At this point, this is the New Republic. But they're trying to stop the resurgence of the Empire, so it does have its purpose. It's just... yeah. Oh, and also for a spoiler, yeah, it's great. He gets the razor. He gets a variation of the razor. And the only reason why he gets a razor is because, well, Hasbro tried to do a crowdfunding to have a bunch of razors made as a toy, and then when people did fund it, the show actually blew up the razor and everyone withdrew their crowdfunding. So that's why they really had the ship return. I don't hate the film. I don't. I still have appreciation for like the Star Wars movies, but I'll say that for the rest. Let's just go back to our friends, the non-spoilers, right now. Welcome back. So I think you probably could have watched the spoiler, to be honest, because there's not much that I can say. It's your typical adventure. Yeah, the movie doesn't add much. We don't get much in the cameos. And it's because it's a movie they should have made it bigger than it was. I have appreciation for all the Star Wars movies, even the bad ones, because, Star Wars is something from my childhood. As a kid, I had all the powers of the Force and beyond figures. Like, no kidding, I was kind of spoiled in that department. I had all the figures, even characters that showed up for like a brief scene. And you know what? Back then, when I was a kid, I knew all their names. I couldn't remember anything in science class, but I remembered all the names of all the Star Wars characters. I don't anymore. But there's Cal Kestis, C-3PO, R2-D2, Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, Prince Xizor, Mandalorian Grogu, and me! All the Star Wars characters are here. I even have the video games because I play video games. Pick me, pick me. So really, Star Wars is kind of my life. Alright, my parents' first date was, I'm aging myself here, but my parents' first date was the original first Star Wars movie that was released. That was my parents' first date. I was born the week of Return of the Jedi was released in theaters. And in the fraternity, my brother's name is connected to a Star Wars character. I won't say it, but yeah, so Star Wars continues to be part of my life. That's why I put up with a lot of the Star Wars stuff. I put up with the movies that people call bad. There are just great Star Wars movies, and then there are the okay ones. And like I said, I feel like Mandalorian and Grogu, the movie, it's a cute film, it's serviceable, I'm not mad for seeing it. I could tell it was meant to be season 4, and then at the last minute they were told by Disney, okay, make this a movie. Because as the movie goes along, you could tell where there are high points, and then like high points meaning like, oh, okay, they're about to reach some kind of a climax. Which if it was a TV show, you could see a climax happening right before the credits happen, and then it moves on for us to watch the next episode. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are parts in the film where you could tell, okay, if it was a series, this is where the episode would end. Sorry about the damn police cars. No reason for it to be this loud. So I'm gonna give this movie a 6 out of 10. Closer to a 7 than a 5, but a 6 out of 10. So thank you for watching, and I will be shooting out some more reviews real soon. Have a good one.
Good job, baby.
This is the way.